All right, let's talk case studies. Case studies, case studies. What is a case study? When you look at the traditional term and the way it's been used, particularly in places like Harvard, for example, a case study is a documentation of something that happened that worked that we all want to learn from. So how did Apple pioneer the graphical user interface? How did Michelin Tire recover from petroleum shortages? How did T-Mobile change its customer-focused strategy? All of these things are things that, and you've probably seen case studies like this. They're multi-page documents which follow a pretty standard format of the problem, the impact, and then the solution and the details of the solution. And if you've been to business school, you've taken business school classes, you have seen case studies. If you're like me, you came to dread case studies because they were long and not particularly entertaining. However, they're valuable. They're valuable because they teach us things, right? They tell us a story, maybe not in the most compelling way, but they tell us a story that we can learn from, that we can garner insights from, and ideally apply those insights to our own businesses and things like that. So why is this a bit of a ranting? Well, because what we do as marketers and what we publish as marketers that we call case studies really aren't, right? Go to any company's website, particularly in B2B, but any company that's got some case studies up on their website, and read through them. Do they read like a Harvard Business Review case study? Or do they read like an advertisement, right? I can't count the number of case studies I've read on other companies' websites which don't teach you anything at all. It's like, here's the problem that the customer had, and look how awesome we are. We solved the customer's problem and made them all this money, or saved them all this time, or reduced employee churn, whatever. And I get that. I totally understand that the point of that, as from a marketing perspective, is to demonstrate your competence, to demonstrate your abilities. But it's not a case study. It's just an ad. It is just an advertisement. And mislabeling it a case study is lying. Because the point of a study is for you to be able to study something, to study what is written and learn from it. A piece of paper that just says, and we're an awesome company, we solve this, this business problem, doesn't teach anybody anything except that you are incredibly self-centered and quite possibly not telling the truth if you're not willing to reveal any of the details about how you did it. That the results you're presenting may actually just be accidental and that your product or service doesn't actually work. So what's the solution here if companies just are publishing things that are not case studies? Well, there's a couple things. One, for companies that actually publish real case studies where you can learn something from them, learn a lot of things from them, as audience members, it is our job to reward them with attention, to highlight true, proper case studies and say, look, here's a company that has done it right? Here's a company that has published a case study that really teaches somebody something. And even if you have no intention of buying from this company, you still learned something. You still learned something that you could apply to your own business, make your own business better, and perhaps down the road you will buy something from them. Because bashing a company for having just an ad instead of a case study doesn't really do any good. Partly because so many case studies really are just ads, and partly because that negative attention doesn't change behavior, right? As marketers, we're accustomed to people hating our marketing, right? We're accustomed to people saying, wow, that sucked. And so receiving additional feedback that now a case study sucked doesn't really resonate, right? It doesn't make us feel bad enough to change. We're just like, oh, whatever, just, another uninterested prospect. Whereas if we pivot to giving companies positive attention that do a good job of teaching in their case studies. That qualitative feedback may be enough to encourage at least that company to continue doing that, but also to change the behavior of folks in our industry. To say, like, when you do it right, you get rewarded. When you do it right, you get a cookie. And that can cross departments, right? It can be something where, really positive feedback. That company, the people who work in marketing can boil that up to their executives and their stakeholders and say, look at what a great job we're doing. All these people said they love our case studies. And that anecdotal affirmation actually goes a long way inside companies, especially in companies where marketing folks are trying really hard to prove that the work they're doing matters and it resonates with people. So here's what I would ask of you. First, if your existing case studies really are nothing more than ads, just call them ads, right? Second, if all of your existing case studies really are just ads, try creating one that is really and truly a case study that if you submitted it to the Harvard Business Review for peer review, it would actually get approved, right? So go to that length to say, like, yeah, we would submit this for an academic journal and it would pass peer review. That would be my second challenge to you. And my third challenge to you would be find companies that do publish true case studies that teach you a lot, even if you're never, ever going to buy anything from them, and highlight them. Share them on social. Include them in your newsletter. Put them in your social feeds. Do something that reinforces the behavior that we want, which is all of us sharing more information so that we can all make our marketing better, so we can all make our operations and our businesses better. That's today's rant and today's mind reading. Thanks for watching.